Hey, Jeff.
Hey, Eric.
How are you?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
Doing well, thank you. Given everything that's going on in the world right now,
Yes.
what is one thing that is made you feel good, bright, light, made you laugh?
I would say there's been a few. We were just talking to Ari Lennox this morning.
Yeah.
There were some funny things in there. I put up a poll.
Yeah.
That asked who would win in a battle, Beyonce or Soulja Boy, and
Like the Instagram battles
Yeah.
that we've been seeing online
Yeah.
where people put up 20 songs against another person's 20 songs.
Yep. So I said Beyonce or Soulja,
Yeah.
and the responses to that, first of all,
Have made you laugh?
have been crazy.
Okay.
But also, it reinforced my idea that Soulja Boy is, in fact, really great.
This is not a troll, Jeff?
No.
None of this is trolling.
No, I think that Soulja Boy has hits.
You have not
He has slaps.
put on for the people. This has been a serious investigative journey that you've been on.
I want Soulja Boy. You can't even find somebody who could battle Soulja Boy right now on Instagram. Maybe
not a one?
Maybe Drake.
You think the ultimate battle right now?
Soulja Boy and Drake.
Soulja Boy and Drake.
Because Soulja Boy
Drake
takes
and Soulja
Beyonce
Boy.
right now.
What?
I said Soulja Boy takes Beyonce right now.
So okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Soulja Boy, and I'm honestly not even trolling. I do think
This is not you've been cooped in this place.
Well, I mean, who even knows?
You're sort of
my
going
mind
nuts.
is sort of like mashed potatoes right now.
Yeah.
But like, my honest feeling is Soulja Boy has hits. Soulja Boy is underrated.
20 hits.
Eric,
20 hits to battle Drake.
You could raise
or
that
Beyonce.
number to whatever you want it to be. Soulja Boy's got hits.
Okay. I'm not even going to say what's made me laugh, but that makes me laugh. Jeff was on the podcast today.
On the podcast today is Jonte Austin, fresh off that win.
Yeah. Could he battle Soulja Boy? Jonte Austin, Soulja Boy.
I'm not
you know
saying
what?
that
Don't embarrass yourself.
Okay.
Just don't do it.
All right.
Yeah, he's the acclaimed songwriter from Atlanta. He did the Instagram battle against Neo.
Mm-hmm.
It was the one that sort of like righted the ship that people were like, oh, I get this whole thing.
Yeah.
Okay. He's written for everyone from Mary J. Blige to
Talk about it.
Mariah Carey.
Talk about it.
To just lots and lots and lots of
Tony Braxton, talk about it.
major hits.
Lil Bow Wow, talk about it.
Shout out to Jonte. Then
Justin Bieber, talk about it.
Then we go out to LA and we link up with DJ Khalil.
Yep.
DJ Khalil could battle Soulja Boy. Again, Jeff, don't embarrass yourself. Hold on. DJ Khalil.
Listen, DJ Khalil is a friend.
Has worked with Dr. Dre. He's worked with Snoop. He's worked with Akon. He's worked with Big Boy. He's worked with the Clips. You know a lot of his music. It's really awesome. Kind of like a big deal. All of that.
Yep.
Then we go down back to Atlanta.
Yeah.
To link up with another producer, our
Sonny
friend
Digital.
Sonny Digital.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff, Sonny Digital, Soulja Boy. Again, hold on. Don't embarrass yourself. Sonny Digital, you guys know his whole catalog. Major super producer from down in Atlanta. Really funny conversation with him.
Mm-hmm.
For anybody who really rocks with what we're doing right now, this daily show, Quarantine Radio, new episodes every day, Monday through Saturday, and then an It's the Real Classic episode on Sundays. Jeff, how can people help us keep going forward and keep this thing afloat?
Okay, well, first of all, you can always hit us up on Twitter at It's the Real, Instagram at itsthereal.
Yes.
But also,
Yeah.
patreon.com/itsthereal.
Very important.
Very important.
Very powerful.
Very necessary. Very significant.
Yes. All of that.
Patreon.com/itsthereal. Go help your boys out today.
Yeah.
We, creatives need your help. These are dark times for everybody, but creatives, we're keeping this thing going.
Yes. I do want to shout a couple people out, or a couple of groups out. I want to shout out all the people who are on the front lines out there, and that's medical professionals, number one.
Yeah.
All of you guys who are getting through this however you can, doctors, nurses, healthcare professionals, anyone who's out there dealing with people who are suffering right now, shout out to you.
Yeah.
The second group of people I want to thank are all the people outside who are doing deliveries, who are at cash registers,
Yeah.
who are really taking their lives into grave danger.
Yeah, and I mean, like, doing
For the sake of
jobs
us.
that they didn't think would be
Heroic.
Yeah. You know, like, because these are, you're a cashier.
Yeah.
You don't expect that you could be
And really, you are, and we salute you and we thank you. We thank you in person and we thank you here. If you're listening out there and you're doing a job that is essential, thank you.
Did we say sanitary workers?
Sanitary workers, anyone who is outside who is doing true essential work.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. And I also want to shout out, and hope that all you guys shout out, people who live by themselves. Anybody who is, in a small place, a big place, it doesn't matter. One can be lonely. One can be lonely even if you live with other people. And I think that it's super important to check in on everybody who is out there just by themselves and more vulnerable and by themselves than maybe the rest of us are. So salute to all of you guys. Love to all of you guys. Jeff, let's get on the phone with Jonte Austin.
Hello?
Jonte, what's happening?
Up?
Hey, how you guys doing?
We're doing very well. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic, man. Just laying low in the house, staying quarantined.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Well, listen, I think when you write a song, when you put it out, there's a response that you get when you go out to a club, when you hear it on the radio, when you win awards. But how did you feel when songs that you wrote were played for the world and everyone was concentrated on Instagram Live, you against Neo, and they have this whole other meaning and this whole other effect on people who are solely, checking in for you and your message?
It was amazing. I didn't really understand how big it had gotten until right at the end, when I looked at the screen, because Neo and I were just in the moment of I'm playing my music, I'm queuing my stuff up, I'm enjoying his music as well because his catalog is so amazing.
Yeah.
And then I look and I see 80,000 people
crazy are
watching this, and it's for R&B music. It's to hear R&B music. It was fantastic. So yeah, it was an amazing, almost kind of surreal feeling. When you really think about it, 80,000 people have stopped what they are doing to watch Neo and I.
Yeah, I mean,
crazy.
What was your relationship like with Neo before this? And are you guys at each other's necks now? Are you guys good? I know it was very intense.
No. Yeah. We have always been friends. I first came to know about him, I guess, around maybe 2005 when I first started working with the Stargate production team, and he had begun working with them first, and we would meet each other in passing. And I was telling him, I spoke with L.A. Reid years ago, and L.A. was just asking me, who do you like? What writers do you think are really special? What new guys? And I said, man, that Neo guy is really special. Just the quality of what he does, his lyrics, his melody. So I've always been a fan of his music and just familiar with the catalog. So yeah, we've been friends for a long time. And I posted a picture the other day on my IG, and it was him and I and Mary J. Blige hanging out in Las Vegas, and it was back in 07. So yeah, I've always been a fan of Neo, and him and I have had a cool relationship for years now.
So knowing his catalog, knowing your catalog, and you're going into something where this was a great battle for so many reasons, but I think once everyone got the rules right and understood that, okay, we're going to give only, this amount of time, we're going to have this amount of songs, and there was some structure to it, how did you consider which way you wanted to approach this? Or were you open to the fact that he may throw something and you would be able to maneuver in a couple different ways?
Right. Yeah. So, and it's crazy. So with the rules, Neo and I had because we had watched the battle the night before that had slightly less structure.
slightly.
Yeah. and so, Neo and I had actually come up with the rules. So I'm happy to see that they've continued to keep going. Now, Neo and I had said 25 songs. And when we talked to Swiss, it was Swiss who, recommended, because it's him and Timbaland's platform. And he's like, I've kind of been just watching the trajectory and how things are the ebb and flow and how things have gone. So I recommend 20, but all the other rules as far as the 90 seconds, that's, what Neo and I discussed. So I'm happy to see that they've continued with that in the subsequent battles. But as far as the playlist, I put it together. I moved some things around. There were about 3 songs that were played out of the sequence that I had them. So it had some fluidity to it, but for the most part, it was already a set offense, so to speak.
Yeah. What's a song that like almost got played?
So I had 5 in the queue. I had a Janet record, Janet and Nelly, Call on Me. Monica's Every Time the Beat Dropped, Tamia's Still, Joe's Let's Stay Home Tonight.
Man.
So yeah, there were a couple that I still had on deck.
Did you hear from anybody afterwards that you were very surprised had been tuned in and was appreciative for what you had done?
No, well, I like when I'm turning in, like maybe like 10 minutes after, Jay-Z called. So I talked to him often, so I wasn't surprised to hear from him. I was surprised that he was watching.
Yeah.
What's his Instagram account?
Right, exactly. So that's, it's like, you're right, because I'm like, I know you don't have an Instagram, so, but of course you have access to one. So yeah, he had sent me a text, it's like, wow, man, if people didn't know who you were before tonight, they certainly know now. And then he called about 5 minutes later, and we got a chance to talk. But no, everyone, the response from the industry and people who reached out were just like, man, I'm really happy that the world is kind of getting to see, what we have known and really seeing the breadth of your catalog and to be able to appreciate it. So it was just cause of, congratulations and happiness. And I'm just happy to see, people understanding who you are now.
Yeah, it was pretty spectacular, I think, across the board. Were you ready for, if it was not Neo, to battle anybody else? And has there been any talk of doing a tournament style thing where you would take your catalog and keep going as you win more battles?
So I don't know about the tournament thing. With Neo, it was that's who the battle came about because I reached out, to his people. And then he came back and said, okay, I'm with it. Let's do it. And so we had already kind of began to form it. But then, Swiss heard that we were doing it and reached out and was, gracious enough to extend him and Timbaland's platform. He's like, I appreciate you guys wanting to do this. Let Tim and I bring it under the umbrella and promote it and give it the curation that it needs and deserves. So yeah, there was no one else in that I was thinking about. Because it was Neo and I who kind of had a conversation, and then we were able to bring, the heavy hitters in once we had, discussed and decided on everything.
Who else was in your room with you when this was happening?
So my big brother, Troy Taylor, who I collaborate with often, and he's actually, he produced Sweet Lady for Tyrese, and that's actually him singing all the backgrounds on Sweet Lady.
Wow.
And he signed Trey songs, and he's been a mentor and kind of a guiding force, since I was we high.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about the story behind Sweet Lady? Because I've seen that you wrote it when you were 15, but I've also seen that you wrote it when Tyrese was signed to RCA after you. So what's the timeline? Yeah, what's the timeline?
Right, yeah. So I was signed to RCA, and then I got dropped. I was signed at 13, dropped around 15, and Sweet Lady was a record that Troy and we worked on, shortly after I got dropped. And then Tyrese got signed to RCA, and they came to Troy and his partner at the time, Charles, for a record. And he was like, man, I think we should give him Sweet Lady. So that's how Tyrese got that record. So the record was done before Tyrese had his deal, and it just worked out that, and I wrote it at 15, and it just worked out that by the time it was placed on Tyrese, who had been signed to the company that I was dropped from.
So a couple questions. One is, at 13, is that or 15, is that too early to feel the weight of being dropped by a major label? Do you or in that time, do you feel like just, devastated because that's like your one and only chance?
Absolutely. It's the latter because, I was upset and hurt. I mean, it's everybody's dream, like, or as far as an artist, and even more so back then. Today artists are able to get their music directly to the public, and there's so many platforms. But, back in 1993 when I was 13, that it was huge to have a record deal. Like, that was like amazing. Like, wow, I've been signed to a record deal. So yeah, it was devastating. But it really led to me writing more because there were no other deals from a record deal perspective for me to go and get. So my way to be around the music industry and to continue to keep at it was to write songs.
Well, was there someone who sort of like led you in that direction?
So that was Troy Taylor, who definitely led me down that path and encouraged me to write and encouraged me to, keep at it that way.
Yeah. And my other question about Tyrese is we've heard that Tyrese has the most amazing backyard.
Yep. He's got a Benihana's back there. He's got a Starbucks. He's got Club Tyrese. What is it called?
It might be Club Tyrese, but have you?
No, it's Club Voltron.
Oh,
right?
Club Voltron.
Yeah. Yeah, it's Voltron, I think. Yeah.
Have you sat down and eaten at the Benihana's there?
I have not. So I have not been to his home in LA. I've been to his home here in Atlanta.
Yeah.
He has a great place here, and it's got like Transformer statues, which is crazy. Like in the foyer in the backyard. But no, I have not had a chance to enjoy hibachi poolside with Tyrese.
By the way, we have a podcast. You're currently on it, obviously, but there was a thought that we were going to get Tyrese's Benihana's chef to be on our podcast, which would be an incredible conversation. I also want to know, so at the end of the battle, you want to go out and you want to celebrate. It's currently quarantine, everything. So what did you do after? Like, how did you release that energy?
So yeah, I was at the studio. I drove home and, my wife and I continued our, I had been drinking cognac during the entire battle. So we just continued. So that I was getting hit about that. You asked who was calling. People were calling to just find out, how did your glass never empty? Because we couldn't see you pour, and it's like, did you have a bartender then? I'm like, no, it was just slightly off camera. But no, we came home and we celebrated and just enjoyed the company of each other. And I was getting calls till midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, I bet.
Just saying, wow, what a battle.
There's been so many moments throughout these Instagram lives that people have really clung on to. Your cognac was one. D-Nice's hat switches have been another, and also Neo's phone falling down in the middle of the battle. Did you guys react when his phone would fall?
Yeah, I was just like, whoa. I mean, I was, so Troy suggested he had a stand. He was like, I want you to put it here, set it back. That way we don't, and he's like, because I don't want the phone to get knocked over. He had suggested that before the battle because of concerns.
Yeah.
And then just the night before, the proximity that one of the guys was getting, that had with his own camera. He was like, man, I don't want you getting all up in the camera and putting your face, right up in the world's face. So yeah, we were like, oh shit, the camera fell.
And what was the consideration in terms of how dressed up you got? Because I know that Jimmy Kimmel and them have had formal Fridays. I know that we have a friend who celebrated a birthday and we all went in her Zoom and my brother and I here got dressed up at the last minute, to make an appearance in that Zoom. How did you consider your wardrobe?
So, as an artist, my friends call me Sinatra, so, Jermaine and Jay-Z, they're all like, young Sinatra, because I'm always, dressed up, a lot of times in a tux. Jay-Z and I have a rule about when we go to Vegas, we're never not in a tux.
Well, were you in a tux in that picture with Neo and Mary?
Yeah, exactly. So, and that was in Vegas. The rule has been ongoing. And so I said, This is going to be, for a lot of people, the first time that they find out who I am, right? Because, and shout out to Neo, because like, how huge was his platform already? So he didn't have to do it to raise my visibility. So I'm like, okay, people are going to be watching this. They're going to be tuning in. A lot of them don't know who I am. So in addition to the music, like, I got to come as me. I got to come as Sinatra and throw on the bow tie and everything. So I always knew I was going to wear a tux.
Were there any songs in the battle that hit off way bigger than you thought they might have?
Tony Braxton's Just Be a Man About It got some really, really great response. That one, and Genuine Stingy. I knew that they were, solid records and hit records, but those were the two that kind of, surprised me. When you get to the last 6 songs, the response to those is not really surprising because you saved them because the magnitude, of the songs when you play them. So, but yeah, those two, I would say the Tony Braxton and the Genuine song.
Jonte, this is it's an unprecedented time. I think we're all trying to figure out how we move in these days and months and moments that we live in. How do you get inspiration when there's so much darkness outside your windows?
I think we draw inspiration from just wanting to share our art with the world. Like, I did an EP that I put out a couple of weeks ago, and it was just like, okay, I know everybody can't, get out and people are stuck at home. So it seems like it's incumbent upon creatives and artists, like this is kind of the time, like if you will, like where, we mobilize and galvanize our resources to, give people the things that get them through. Like, it's incumbent upon creatives. So when you're thinking about like, wow, because those are the comments that I saw, that was like the biggest thing when I saw comments like, you made my night, and just for an hour and a half, you took my mind off of the very real circumstances that we're gathered under, but you took my mind off of it and you made me feel good.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we've been seeing with the D-Nice quarantine party. JD put on a great DJ set yesterday.
Killed it last night.
That was crazy.
Right, all Atlanta music, and especially for people in Atlanta, because you're proud, because you're like, wow, 17,000 people have joined that, which is the equivalent of the State Farm Arena, but it's all over the world, and it's my city. Like, I'm so proud of my city that JD can spend for 2 hours with only Atlanta music and not run out of music, still had plenty more music to go. And
Keisha Bottoms was in there.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, and then our former mayor, Kasim Reed, and then last night with Lil Jon and T-Pain. I think that's where creatives are drawing their inspiration, because it feels good to us to make other people feel good, and to see that music, as it always has been kind of the uniting factor. For all people. Like, everyone loves music, and you really see that, the universal language that music is. So I think that's where I draw inspiration from. And I think that a lot of other creatives are drawing inspiration as well. We just want to share our art. And that's the beauty of it, right? Because now you're seeing true artists be excited to share art. It's not about the money. It's not about ticket sales. It's like, I'm an artist. I have art. The world loves the art, and this is the least that I could do for the world. This is my contribution during this time. And however pale in comparison it is to, people like our healthcare workers who are really on the front lines, giving all that they have. It's like, man, this is the least that we could do. So I draw inspiration from that.
Well, that's beautiful.
Yeah, that is. And thank you, honestly, for your contributions thus far. You really did make a lot of people's nights and days after, if people tune in on YouTube and see the full, battle. Jonte, stay healthy down there, stay safe, stay indoors. And we really appreciate you.
Same to you guys.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate you, and be well.
You as well, brother. Take care, guys. Bye.
Jeff, let's call out to Los Angeles, California, and get DJ Khalil on the phone. Yeah.
Hello?
Khalil!
What up?
What's up, man?
What's happening? How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. You are a father. You have kids at home. How is this all going?
It's just been an experience, man. Like, it's just, like I'm trying to, it's like we're me and my wife are just trying to set a schedule and just trying to keep them on it. And like, I'm trying to slip in work when I can, and it's still been busy, thank God. So I'm just working through it, but I love being with the kids. So it's like, it's an added bonus, but it's definitely like, it gets frustrating at times when you're trying to lock in creatively, and just trying to, stay on top of things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
it throws off the whole rhythm, right?
Yeah, the whole rhythm, man. Just and just trying to create space. When you're trying to be creative, you need to, you want to be in a zone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's definitely hard to just get into a zone when the kids are in here, and like I got a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old, so they're coming in like, I got a little basketball hoop in my little, room,
yeah.
my office, and they're in here playing basketball and all that stuff. And then I want to play with them, so
of course. Are you working mostly at home right now and not at your studio downtown?
Yeah, I'm working. I'm not. I actually just moved out of my studio. So
oh wow.
I'm kind of like in between spots right now. So until the next one is kind of up and running, I'm still working that out right now. But so for now, I'm working at home. So it's kind of been like perfect timing, really. And
yeah.
I feel like I've been just as productive, to be honest. Like,
so have people, collaborators, artists, whoever, been reaching out to you to start stuff for the first time, or are these mostly like relationships that you've already had now that you're like, oh, it's easy just to have that second hand and email stuff over, and that's no problem?
Yeah, I mean, new people have been reaching out. I'm doing a lot of TV and film stuff, so that's been cool. And like, so I've been like, doing that. On top of that, they have like pretty strict timelines, even though all this crazy stuff is going on. But yeah, there's been like new people that, I haven't really dealt with, but, they just been reaching out, and I've been sending beats, they've been asking for beats for everybody, you know what I mean? So,
yeah.
And it seems like everybody's in a creative space. So it's not like they just want trap. They just want whatever they want. Like they want hip hop, you know what I mean? Which is great.
Yeah.
It's just like, man, that's right in where I'm at right now. So.
Are you in a creative space right now?
It comes and goes, man. I think like, just watching the news, obviously watching Donald Trump in the press.
Oh my God.
And his conferences is just like, it's mind blowing, you know?
Is.
So I can't really wrap my head around what's going on and how casual this guy is about what's happening and how many people are dying. It's pretty unsettling. You know what I mean? So I try to just find time to, it just comes and goes. I try to, create for a little bit, take a break, watch something I want to watch. I just try to stay away from the news, and try to keep up, but it's like, it's hard to avoid, you know what I mean? Cause you want to be informed. You want to make sure you know what's going on and, how this is progressing. So
absolutely.
So it's been hard. It's definitely been hard. I've been enjoying like all the Instagram battles and the DJ, that's really, really helped, just taking your mind off of, all these people that are dying and, all this suffering going on. It's really insane.
Yeah. Is there anybody that you want to see battle that has not yet?
Man, I mean, I do want to see Just Blaze and Bink. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, I feel that'd be a battle of a different kind. Unfortunately.
Yeah, it would be a different kind of battle. But I mean, just as a fan, because I'm a fan of both of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they're like, they've inspired me, both of them. You know what I mean? So I just want to hear them play stuff back to back, and it's just like, man, like how many producers will want to just see them go toe to toe and just play classics. You know what I mean?
So do you sit there on Instagram like we all do and just check out, like, for instance, last night you see T-Pain and Lil Jon go at it, you watch like basically the whole thing?
Man, I missed it.
Oh.
I had to. So I you know, because around the time when they're kicking these things off, I'm like, I got the kids and I'm putting them in the bathtub. Yeah. So I got off and they were like, "Yo, did you check it out?" I was like, "No, I missed it." So then I went back and watched it because I guess on T-Pain's Instagram, you know, you can go back and watch it. So I watched it and I was like, "Yo, this was." I'm so mad I missed it because I wanted to see everybody's comments, but it was yeah. I mean, I'm trying to be front and center for all of them because it's been, you know, it's just, you know, I mean, there's just so many legends, man, and like to hear their catalog and like, you know, to kind of, you know, be around it. Like Lil Jon, like one of my really good friends, she worked for Lil Jon and Jermaine Dupri, so I was around them. You know what I mean? So you know, I went to school in Atlanta. Yep. You know what I mean? So it was like, you know, to see him kind of come out of like LaFace and, you know, the Organized Noise and all these different people. You know what I mean? Like it's pretty. Dallas Austin. Yeah. He's like the product of all. He's like the product of all of them, and like 3 decades of hits is like insane to me.
Yeah, really, I was listening. I'm sorry?
Yeah, sorry.
No,
go ahead. My bad.
I was listening to JD's set yesterday for 404 Day, which was just like insane. I know that you have a great song that we were just listening to with Big Boy. How did you forge that relationship?
Man, that was actually through Dahi. I did that with DJ Dahi. Yeah. And you know, Dahi's just everywhere, and you know, we're really good friends, and you know, we collaborate a lot. And that was just one of those records. Like he made, you know, I sent him the sample because you know I was just like sending people samples, just all my friends, all my, you know, creative friends, you know, cats that are producing, and yeah, he flipped it, and I guess he was already kind of working with Big Boy, and then you know, and then he called me. He's like, "Yo, man, I think we got a record on Big Boy's album." I was like, "What? That's crazy." So you know, so that's kind of like that's really how that happened. You know, shout out to Dahi, man. That's
big shout out to Dahi.
Yeah, man.
So you're a lifelong West Coaster. When Governor Newsom a couple weeks back was like, okay, we're gonna shut the state down basically, and everyone is gonna do this safe at home thing. What was your first reaction?
Man, I was kind of already freaking out when the NBA shut down. When the NBA shut down, that was kind of like the beginning of everything. That's when I was like, okay, this is pretty unreal. You know, I was like, you know, it was like the domino effect, you know. So shortly after that, I mean, the governor, you know what I mean, announced that, and I just, you know, I couldn't believe it. Obviously, I was like, I got to go to the grocery store. That was like everybody's first thing. It's like, I got to stock up, and you know, and then it was just like you get to Trader Joe's and there was like nothing. Then you got to, you know, all the, you know, so it was kind of like a panic at first. I mean, not really panic, but it was just like, I was just concerned because I wanted to make sure, you know, we had everything we needed, and
for sure,
and just, you know, I'm glad that we jumped on it. I'm glad we jumped on it early, and you know, and everybody's been kind of like listening out here, you know, in California for the most part, because I feel like the Bay Area was kind of like the leader because they shut down first, and then we kind of came, you know, and then California just kind of happened after that. But
and then LA was also just like ready. They shut down the beaches, they shut down the marina and everything. Here in New York, it's like people for the most part have been inside, but then you also have pockets where it's like people are in the parks, people are
playing basketball. People are still out there. But it's been, I think, you know, some people just get it, and some people are just, I think, just ignoring science and ignoring, you know, the doctors. And that's the really troubling thing.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, especially living in LA, like New Yorkers, like, you know, like you guys you have seasonal weather, so you stay in already. So when it's nice, you know, you want to go outside. You know what I mean? So the fact that you're forced to stay inside even when it's nice. You know what I mean? Like, you have to take advantage of that. So I get it. I get that, like, people wanted to be out, but I don't think they really understood how serious it was.
Does your 4-year-old understand what's going on and the idea that, like, you can't
see your friends?
live life normally now?
She kind of gets it. she's pretty smart, because my wife explained, that there's a virus and it's hurting people, and and people are really sick, and so she definitely understands that. So she understands, like, we have to stay home, we can't really go anywhere, and and even when we have to go to the grocery store or whatever, I have asthma, so I can't really leave.
Wow,
you know what I mean?
man.
So I've had asthma my whole life, and I have allergies and all that kind of stuff. And my daughter, she's not asthmatic, but she definitely has like some respiratory issues when she gets sick, obviously. So, so we're just being cautious. But even when my wife leaves, my daughter's like, be careful. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
So she definitely understands. My 2-year-old is like, he's just happy that both mommy and daddy are here, and he can play all day. So he's, he doesn't know, but yeah, she has a concept of it, but she's they're both having a good time, and that's like, it kind of takes the edge off, to be honest, to be around them, because it's like, it's really troubling to see what's happening around the world, so
yeah. Is this true that your father played in the NBA?
Yeah. Yep, he played in the NBA. My dad played for 10 years. He was College Player of the Year in 1964. He was on the first John Wooden team at UCLA.
Yeah,
to go 30-0. His name is Walt Hazard, and he and he got drafted, first round pick, and all that kind of stuff. And he played for the Lakers. He was drafted by the Lakers, and then he got traded to Seattle, and he was an All-Star, and then he won a gold medal as well in Tokyo, 64.
Could I sound any dumber being like, is this true that your father, and like, you list down his entire resume, and I'm just like, oh.
Yeah, no, I grew up around basketball. Like, my dad, my dad worked for the Lakers, like, under when Del Harris went over there, because he was a scout for Del Harris in Milwaukee. So when Del Harris went to the Lakers and they got Shaq and Kobe, we were there for the whole thing. So we know Shaq and Kobe. Kobe's passing was like, I cried for like 3 weeks. I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah.
And he was so, he's a Philly guy. My dad's from Philly. So they had that connection. He used to hang out with my dad. He used to send my dad all kind of like gear, everything. And then my dad had a stroke when I was in like 96. And then they kept him, Dr. Buss, still kept him on staff and took care of him. I mean, when they say Laker family, it's for real.
Yeah.
It's like, and my dad's just, he and Jerry West were super tight. They played together. So and then my brother coached, he was one of the assistant coaches in under Phil Jackson, the second, championship run. So he worked for Phil Jackson. Yeah. He's in Tokyo. He's in Japan right now coaching.
So, but, so if, for all intents and purposes, you bleed purple and yellow, right?
All day.
So, how do you feel with the Clippers buying the Forum?
It's crazy, man. I mean, Steve Ballmer is an amazing owner.
Yeah.
And it's like, I love, I like Kawhi. I like Paul. I just can't be a Clippers fan. There's no way I'm going to root for the Clippers. I'm like praying that they don't win a championship. Like,
it would break your heart if your children rooted for them.
Yeah, like, my kids will never know, like, the Laker dynasty,
Yeah.
They'll think the Clippers are, but it's exciting for basketball. Like, it's, and I think, like, the Clippers need to go. I think the Lakers should have the Staples Center, and they should be wherever. I just thought they'd be in, like, Artesia or some shit. So, like, for them to go to Inglewood and take over the Forum. It's going to be crazy, man. It's going to be... LA is just, is on fire in terms of sports. So it's like,
Yeah. Well, and then,
I think it's going to be dope.
So basketball is everything in your life. And then all of a sudden, the NBA is the first, as you said, the domino that tips and everything else follows. That had to be just shocking when you saw that.
Yeah, man. I was pretty devastated, because this was like one of the best seasons I've seen in a long time. And like, and just, and it's a release, even when I'm working, man, to have to know that a game is on, it's like, man, I can take those 2 hours just to watch the game and like, and work through it and, all that kind of stuff. But how would you
have felt if the NBA did play games without fans?
It just wouldn't be the same.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad they shut it down. I mean, I think until this thing is resolved, especially when players start getting sick, just testing positive, it's like, they travel, all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of like they needed to shut it down completely. I think they made the right decision for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you excited for the Michael Jordan documentary that's coming out?
Oh my God, I can't wait, man. I cannot wait. And it was like, I'm a Magic guy. I was not a Jordan guy.
Right.
But, obviously he's the GOAT. And, I had an appreciation afterwards. But, like, when it was happening, I was like, Lakers all day. So,
yeah. Well, by the way,
I can't wait to see it.
So, like, we grew up as Knicks fans. And this is, like, how psychopathic I am. I've never worn a pair of Jordans. Except for like, I got one pair of Jordans as a gift just recently, and I've worn them once, but not like outside.
Right.
And like, meanwhile, I'm not even like a really big Knicks fan.
But I think that the coolest thing is that you're going to see.
I'm excited to see him in HD. And,
for the first time,
and like admire all of that. I do want to ask before we get too far. You said that your brother is coaching in Japan. How has I know the response has been better than here, and better than expected than most places, but like how has your brother's experience during this time been?
Man, it's been, he's like an hour and a half outside of Tokyo. I forgot the name of the city off the top of my head, but they've had like, I think they've had like maybe like 14 cases, and that's not even where he is, like Tokyo or something like that. What he was telling me, it was like up until like maybe 5 days ago, it was like they could go everywhere. It wasn't even, they just started like telling people, okay, you can go to the grocery store, you can go to restaurants, but be cautious. You know what I mean? So now I think they're edging towards like lockdown, and he's been pretty bored because they shut down the league. So So they were doing like, scrimmages and stuff like that and workouts, and now they just completely like shut that down. So he's there until like May. I think they're finished in May. So he's kind of waiting it out, to be honest. He's like, no reason to come back right now. He's just like, I'm just gonna chill here and and see how it all sorts out or whatever, and then he'll make a decision. But
I think a big difference between New York and Los Angeles, we've always found, is New York you could just like, at the drop of a hat go and stop by someone and visit and like do things just sort of instantaneously. In Los Angeles you have to make a commitment to drive over to the west side, or you have to
and then like 4 hours later you get there, and
but now, and do you think that given these circumstances, maybe like LA is actually like pretty well situated? Yeah. Because everyone is so isolated to begin with?
Yeah. That's we're a car culture. So, everybody, you go to the store, you drive your car, you know what I mean? Or wherever. It's like we rarely walk, and we don't really have like heavy public transportation like that. We have the bus, but like that's how you get around in New York. You know what I mean? Is subways and all that. So you're just on top of each other. Yeah. And it's such a culture clash out there. Out here, you are definitely separated. You have more space. It's just, LA County is just humongous. You know what I mean? So, we, you're isolated off top. You kind of stay in your radius. You don't really go outside of that. Yeah. That's just how LA is,
So, considering that these are such dark times, what's one or two things that have given you hope?
Well, it's just really family, man. Like my family, and just seeing that, especially here in California, I feel like we've done a good job. I feel like the governor's done, the governor's done a good job of just catching it before this, like, spreads like wildfire, even though it's, cases have been popping up, it could be a 1,000 times worse. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think the fact that they're jumping on it, so early is helping it, is helping, what they say, flatten the curve or whatever. But, they keep, but it's still spreading in other areas. So it's just like, the more I watch, I'm like, man, like, when is this going to end? I don't, nobody knows. Yeah. Nobody knows. It's just like, it's really just being informed and people taking it seriously. And I'm glad, that people out here are definitely doing that, and you know, and I just pray for New York. You know, I pray that it just, you know, that it starts to go away. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and, I think that will come with like testing. I just don't know, like, you know, the federal response to this has just been so disappointing that it's just like you don't even know. You don't know. You can't rely. I mean, you just can't rely on it. You can't rely on them, and which is unfortunate. It's like people talk about the infrastructure and like Italy, whatever, but we're not that great out here. You know what I mean? Like,
not at all. It's,
you know what I'm saying. So it's like, you know, I mean, this is like a wake up call, you know, for in a lot of different areas, even with insurance, all this other stuff. It's like, you know, it's
absolutely,
it's crazy how, you know, we get taxed, you know, for insurance and all that kind of stuff, and it's just, and we have like, you know, and with stuff like this, the response is just so bad, and we can't get the care and the test that we need, you know.
Yeah, well,
with all the money we spend, you know.
I hope first people take this seriously and we can get through it, and then hopefully once we get to November, we can make some real change around here and start to right this ship. So, Khalil, it's great to hear from you. Be healthy, be safe, be inside, and stay creative. Keep killing it out there. And
thank you, man.
And we'll be checking in. All right.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, talk soon.
Stay safe.
Jeff, let's get on the phone with Sonny Digital.
All right.
Yo.
Sonny, what's happening?
What up?
What up, what up, what up, what up?
How you living in these crazy times right now?
It's just regular for me. I'm you know, I stay in my studio 24/7 and I'm in the cut, so I'm used to this quarantine lifestyle.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, but now you have to wash your hands like 10,000 times a day. Like, are you still like maintaining your regular schedule of like going to different places, like the grocery store? Like, how are you moving right now?
Like I said, I don't move. Everything comes to me. I order groceries, order weed, order food, order everything. You know what I'm saying? I don't like going out like that anyways, though, you know. Like, sometimes it be a little too much sometimes, though. I be trying to, I consider myself a regular person and stuff, though, but every time I go out, you know, sometimes it be a lot of people just, you know, always trying to talk to me, and which ain't nothing wrong with it, though, but sometimes I'm going to get, like, groceries or something or anything like that, though. You know, I just want to kind of solely just do that, though, sometimes.
So have you been solely focused on your work during this time, or is it like you understand that the world has sort of like come to a stop and you're like, let me just catch my breath and take a break?
No breaks. You know what I'm saying? Like I was really surprised that it leaked over into the music world, though, that we was actually starting to feel it, though, but not so much of we, though, but artists that's like performing artists who got to go on the road and go do shows, and you know what I'm saying? 'Cause I was talking to a few of my buddies that do that kind of, I ain't gonna say survive off of shows, though, but they make a big portion of their money off the shows and stuff. Though. And he was telling me, like, okay, yeah, this shit real. Like, shows probably canceled for the rest of the year, so, you know, they gotta figure out another way to kind of compensate for all that money they losing and everything, though.
For sure.
But for like a person like me, though, that wasn't just banking on that, though, or doing anything, though. Like, my job really is, as a producer, most so is just to kind of like sit in the studio and make beats and shit, though. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, my lifestyle really ain't just changed since this happened, though. You know what I'm saying? It's just now I'm starting to see, like, in my studio, just the traffic just slowed down just a little bit. Yeah, that was on my card. That was on my card, though, because if I ain't tell people to stop coming because of the stuff that's going on, they would have still just been coming.
Yeah,
you know, but that's about like the only thing I had to do, just shut down my studio for a couple of days right now.
Yeah, I mean, we see everyone has done that. You know, Cam Kirk shut down his studio. Obviously, like, you know, we have a podcast where we have people come over to our spot, and that was a wrap. So how else have you adapted your life in terms of, like, changes that you have to make just, you know, for yourself? Are you staying at home more, or are you just, like, sleeping at the studio, or are you going back and forth?
I'm back and forth. You know, my studio, like, real big, and so I'll be here sometime. Then I go back down to the house and go down there for a few. But then only thing with me going home is I get bored over there.
Yeah,
I be feeling like I just feel like I ain't getting nothing done when I'm there and not doing anything. And versus like when I'm at the studio and not doing anything, I still feel slightly productive. But when I'm at home, though, it's just strictly just like family time, though. You know what I'm saying? Which ain't nothing wrong with that, though. But right now, I'm still trying to I'm trying to make family time 10 years from now more enjoyable.
Yeah, for sure.
You know?
But like, it's crazy because like we've been talking to a lot of artists, and a lot of artists have been taking a step back, and so it's just like, you know, and there's no sports and there's no like culture really happening other than these Instagram battles, and so you're sort of stuck with what there was, you know. And so like, what TV shows are you watching? Are you watching anything?
I haven't been watching. Well, actually, I haven't watched any TV shows. I've been catching up on a couple of movies though. Like I watched this movie the other day on Netflix called Platform.
What is that about?
That shit weird as hell, bro. Like my friend, my partner, he came over to the studio and he just was begging me to watch the movie. Like, you know, I like movies and shit though. So he's like, bro, you gotta watch the movie, bro. I'm like, bro, what the fuck is the movie about, bro? I'm like, you can tell me what the movie about. I'm gonna watch it still, though. You know what I'm saying? But
is it one of those things where he's like, if I tell you anything, then it spoils the whole thing?
He's one of those guys, though. But what I was trying to make him understand is that the kind of guy I am, it's not gonna get spoiled until I actually see it, though. Because you could tell me, but I still got to see it with my own two eyes to really fully understand. You know what I'm saying? So I was trying to tell him to tell me. So he didn't tell me. So I just happened to be in the studio working not too long ago, a couple days ago, and I just turned it on. Yo, that shit crazy, bro. It was like the movie is about like these people they sent to this type of prison, but it's like a long box. It's like a long box up and down. It's like levels to it. It's like 322 levels probably. On each level, it's 2 people on each level though.
So it's like a New York City apartment.
It's like a New York City apartment. It's exactly like that though. But just think of the middle of the apartment cut out, and in the middle of the apartment though, it's a tray of food that comes. It comes down from the first floor all the way down to the last floor, which is like 300 and something though. It's a big old platter of food, like everything on it. Like when you're at level 1, that's when you got the best food. As you keep on going down, people keep on taking food off the tray, and by the time they make it down to the way bottom, there's never no food down there though. So the people at the lower part are way crazier than the people at the higher part though. But then like throughout the movie, they'll change your level though. Like one day you might be at level 22, but then you might go to sleep the next day, you might be at level 166.
It's a rough night.
So so like it's crazy, and they're eating people and stuff. Like Jesus. It's crazy. It's a good movie though. Only thing is, I can say, I was like, okay, the ending of it just kind of threw me off. I didn't really understand like what the ending meant though. Like, and I want to watch it again though, but I don't really want to watch it again though either.
I'll watch it with you on the Netflix like party extension.
Oh,
thing.
there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Sonny, I got a question for you, because obviously we live in a New York City apartment building, much like that level
platform.
Yeah, platform thing. But you know, and we spend a lot of time at home. You know, we live here, we work out of our apartment. Like you, nothing changes. But what changes is that other people are home now all the time too. And so our upstairs neighbors are fucking, I don't know if they're doing dance routines. I don't know if they're just like...
They're on TikTok heavy.
Yeah, I don't know if they're like just stomping on like the floor just to annoy us. I don't know what it is. But at the same time, the conundrum is we can't go up there and like face them face to face and say something because
it's a quarantine.
It's a quarantine.
Yeah.
So
damn.
what if you were in that situation, what would you do?
I was actually in a similar situation to that, like years ago. So when I first moved out of my mama house and got into my first apartment, I moved into the fucking hood, but it was like the gentrified hood though, which meant like it was like nice little apartments though, but it was just built over the hood, so the people in the hood still was there though too.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, bro, where I stayed at, it was a lady who stayed above me and shit though. She had kids in there. That's even worse when you got kids in there. Yeah. She had more than one though, but what made it even worse though, yo, this bitch put a goddamn drum set in the fucking apartment, bro. A fucking drum set in the apartment, directly above where we were recording it though. Like, you know what I'm saying? So like every morning the kid just come in there like it's not even on some like I can play the drums. It's like
the like, drums are there and that's it.
Yeah, you're learning.
Yeah, so the nigga just beating the shit. Boom, boom, just no rhythm, no like. You don't even, you know what I'm saying? Like, if it was 5, you'd be like, okay, I might need to go upstairs and go check out, see what they doing and stuff. It's like you can hear him running across the apartment one side. He run across and you can hear him running to the drums and shit though. get to the drums, beat on that motherfucker. Oh. It's early in the morning too, bro. But shit, I used to take the broom and just boom, boom, boom.
Yeah. I don't know
what shit hard as fuck.
I don't know what to do now, just because like we're not supposed to be 6 feet from another person. I don't know.
Take the broom. The broom. All you gotta do is take the broom and do like you just gotta make them feel it like boom, boom, boom.
Just really fuck up our ceilings.
You ain't got. Well, I mean, shit. You could, but I mean, shit. I'd rather the ceiling be fucked up than to keep on thinking that the ceiling about to cave in on me and shit.
Okay. I want to know. You're originally from St. Louis. What was the first time?
No. I was originally born in Michigan.
Originally born in Michigan.
Yeah, Saginaw.
Oh wow.
Sweet. When did you move down to Atlanta?
When I was a baby, right after I was born.
Oh, so you can't claim Saginaw.
I mean, I can. My family there, so okay.
I don't. Got it.
When I don't claim Saginaw, they kind of they watch me too. You know what I'm saying? So like whenever I do any type of interviews or anything though, and I don't say anything about where I'm from and where my family and everybody based at, I ain't gonna say they get mad though, but they be on some, man, come on, man. You know we need our points for the team too.
Yeah, but like so, you can't really claim a Michigan thing unless like you hold up your hand and you point to where on the hand you are.
Oh man, I know where I was born. I don't know too much, you know what I'm saying? But I just because at first, like when I was doing interviews and stuff, like I said, I wouldn't never say anything about Michigan though. Now I'm just not saying it though, but I was literally just born there. I don't really know like my way around or anything like that, like how I know Atlanta and stuff.
Yeah. Well, so now moving around Atlanta, are you surprised at how quiet it is outside?
I really, like I said, I haven't really been outside, like in the
Not even driving around?
I ain't got no reason.
No.
I mean, where I'm gonna go? I'm gonna be out here wasting gas.
Yeah.
I'm not scared of driving. I'm just scared of the people that be driving. So I don't like to drive too much. I don't like to go anywhere, like unless it's like A to B.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just not about to get out and go put miles on my car and shit though either.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, so having this this period where people are not being in the same rooms as each other, are you comfortable with the idea of collaborating with people by just sending emails?
Oh yeah. I would actually probably prefer it that way on the slick though. Unless it just depends on who I'm working with though, but I kind of prefer for stuff to get sent through the email. I do what I do, send it back to you. You know what I'm saying? But I mean that take a little more time when y'all just send it through email and stuff. But like, I don't really not mind it. I kind of like working kind of alone sometimes. I don't like to sound like a loner, but in order for me to get my ideas and my creativity out, I feel like I gotta be at my most comfortable point. You know what I'm saying? And usually that's when I'm alone. I feel like I can try out things without people judging me or. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And also, I mean, like, when people bring in a lot of people, like, you might be inviting, like, one artist, but then they bring over, like, 30 people.
Yeah.
And so...
I be hating that.
Yeah. So, like, have you been in, like, situations where it's just, like, a ton... Like, what's a song that you created that was in a sort of chaotic atmosphere like that?
I can really... It ain't really, I ain't gonna call it chaotic. It's just overwhelming though. It's just too many people. You gotta worry about everybody though. But like I'm not gonna lie. Like any of the rappers that I work with, not all of them, but the majority of them, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like that though. Like I don't know. I mean, it's very seldom that they'll be moving alone and you know what I'm saying, moving light though. But
yeah,
I feel like there needs to be a lesson, a podcast, a show, something about studio etiquette though, because sometimes it ain't the artists that don't not understand. It's the people around him that don't understand.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? So sometimes I can't all the way blame the artists if everybody want to come and shit though, because like if you tell somebody, nah man, I'm trying to do X, Y, and Z, they probably start feeling some type of way, trying to say you move in Hollywood, like. But not really understanding it's really like a job and shit though.
Yeah.
Like,
well, how about the artist who shows up, does their work, and they leave, but the friend ends up staying?
Oh man, I never had that happen. They gotta go when they go. The friend gotta go when they go. Man, I'm not babysitting anybody. Only time something like that would happen is if we, meaning me and the artist, the friend that he brings is a very mutual friend of both of ours.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But other than that, though, hell no. Take everything you came with. You gotta go with that too, bro. Like, what the fuck I'm gonna do with your friend? Nah, like.
How have you been doing with cooking during this time?
Well, I order a lot of food. And I be having a lot of chefs pull up on me and stuff. I don't really know how to cook though. Even though, I'm not gonna lie to you, like I might be 30 next year. Next year, March, I just turned 29.
Yeah.
So next year I'm gonna be 30, and so like by 30, I don't know. I be inspired when I see like men that can really cook very well and stuff though. Like
it's a skill. It's a skill.
Yeah, I be like, bro, like, and then like it's not even like it's more so it just seems so satisfying, like pleasing, like on some shit, I just made some fire shit. Like,
yeah.
I remember I cooked my mama one day. Like I made some she had an air fryer and I had made some lamb chops. Like, I was just trying out the shit though. I was just going crazy. Like, I was just trying the shit out though. But it just make you feel good. Like when people when you get on the food, they like it and it kind of make you want to do it some more though. But you know, like my buddy, he kind of inspired me to really want to learn how to cook. Not off of just like just learning how to cook though, but I'd be liking like the presentation setup, like on the white plates and how they have. You know what I'm saying? I like the art of it, though. I'm not gonna lie. Like, as far as like cooking and stuff, I just don't know how to do it, though.
Well, now is the perfect time to learn.
Yeah,
it is. I'm not gonna lie. And you get hella bitches. You know what I'm saying? Especially
I'm saying
when you cook like that, though. Like you know, even though it ain't about that, though. I would love to be like able to, you know, just like when I asked my partner about it, though, he was like, it's more like a stress reliever. Like when he be cooking, it just relieve stress. You know what I'm saying? And
we've both found, because like, listen, all this is so crazy. You can like lose your mind in any moment, you know, day to day. But if you get to routines, and cooking can be one of them. Like if you're cooking 3 meals a day, like we're doing right now, that is a stress reliever. It gets you away from your work. It gets you away from like the shit outside your apartment, and like it's just a chance for you to just really focus on something that will, like you said, please a lot of other people and please yourself, you know?
Also, it's an easy Instagram post.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. You know?
Yo,
you know,
Sonny, what do you feel about the people who were like heavy on Instagram, all the girls who would travel to like different islands? You think it's just a wrap for them now because they're all stuck inside?
Hell yeah. well, I take that back. Let me take that back. You can travel at your own risk.
Oh, right now? Yeah.
Yeah, because you can go on a $20 flight to anywhere, but it's just like, you know, exactly. Hospital bills pile up.
That's tempting though. You know what I'm saying? For a girl who probably ain't never been sick, you know, they don't know how real certain things is. Shit, you see a $17 flight to goddamn somewhere you always wanted to go.
Well, okay. Shit. How do you feel about anybody who's willing to pay for a fly out right now?
Talking about fly out? What you mean? Talking about fly girl out?
Yeah.
Because that's a risk too.
it's a number of risks.
I mean,
I'm just saying, like, it's $17.
I'm gonna keep it $100 with y'all. See, I just went through something like that. I took advantage of the $17.
Oh, you
not me personally. I took advantage of the $17 fly out. Okay?
Yeah.
But it wasn't even me personally who did it though. It was through somebody, and it just happened to happen at the perfect time. And he got the flight, but shit, like he got the flight. Old girl came in town. You know, shit. You know, shit, $17. Shit, what you want? Shit.
Just make sure you have a thermometer, you know?
Yeah.
No, I'm good. We all good, man. For real, like, I don't know. I don't really get sick like that.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, I don't really get sick like that. And if I do, I usually heal. Like,
well, goddamn, what's the secret?
Just stay out the way.
Oh.
Don't be in the mix. Ain't no secret. I just stay out the way, man. Just kind of mind my little business.
Yeah.
Only time I can say that I probably will get sick though is when my son gets sick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because when my son gets sick though, it's kind of, you know, you got to be around him. I might catch a little bit of whatever he got though, because you know I can't just shun him out like, oh, you sick, nigga. I don't want to be sick. I don't want to be around you. Like, you know. So when he gets sick, then I might get a little sick with him for sure.
Sonny, we met you at the Trap Museum in Atlanta, I think like 2 or 3 years ago.
2 years ago, something like that. Yeah.
And
yes, sir.
You gave us your number like immediately. Like you were super nice to us. We had a great conversation. We really like chopped it up, and you gave us your number. how often do you give out your number to people? Like, are you that accessible, or is it more just like you sort of have to,
earn your trust?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna say I'm that accessible, but I feel like it's pretty easy to get somebody's number in these times of days and stuff, though. And if it comes to like when we really, if you really need me, you can call me, and I know you really need me, though. But then usually I can tell people who I ain't gonna say can benefit me, though, but are like essential parts to certain things that I got going on. Just like how when I met y'all, I think I already knew who y'all was, or like how I already seen some things. Or I feel like we may have crossed paths like before that time.
We might have, yeah.
It could have been Lonely Island. You know, it's hard to say.
But either way, though, see, I feel like I'm pretty sure I had already knew who y'all was. Though. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, like, that's why I was most on some, like, or I had an idea of who y'all was on. So, like, then it's a lot of things that factor into, like, when I give out my number or how I give it out, though, too.
Yeah,
like, we all when we met, we was back behind, like, we wasn't at the place where, like,
right.
And also, like, Yo had introduced us.
Yeah, it wasn't general admission. This was like,
it all fall under the circumstances of how we meet each other. You know what I'm saying? And that brings my comfort level to the point where, okay, I can have a conversation with this person. This person ain't just about to get my number and blow me up. Like, I gave y'all my number 2 years ago. This is the first call we had.
I know.
You know what I'm saying? And so, like,
yeah, I'm someone who I generally try not to give my number to strangers. Like,
I give my number to everybody.
Jeff is the worst. Jeff gives his to like just like whoever's passing by.
But then I'm
the
also
street.
like annoyed when people call me on, like, even though I gave them my number.
Yeah, I be on the same exact shit too. I'm not gonna lie, bro. But what I can tolerate, I can tolerate a text message. I don't like calls. I feel like calls are very invasive. I feel like calls are invasive, and I feel like FaceTimes from people that you don't even really know are just like very invasive. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, bro, like, you know, honestly, I try to kick it to people. I be like, bro, like, don't call my phone, because you gotta understand, I make music, so I gotta use my ears and stuff, though. So if you call my phone and you try to talk to me or try to do anything,
you're getting in the way. Yeah,
you literally getting in the way of me doing what I'm doing. Versus when you can shoot me a text and, you know, get your same point across, and I can hit you with a text right back, though.
I will say,
decline your call.
I fuck with the confidence that goes behind like a surprise FaceTime.
I'm trying to tell you too, bro. I fuck with that heavily too. That take a lot of confidence.
Yeah,
like,
it does.
You gonna pick this phone up? Like, come on, bro. Like, and look, it's on some shit. I be scared to FaceTime people. I ain't never FaceTime before. Before I FaceTime somebody I ain't never FaceTime before, I need to have a long text thread with them.
Yeah.
The comfort level just got to be there, but I couldn't. Some niggas just be jumping off the porch with that FaceTime call, like, bro, like.
Yo, I'm definitely gonna FaceTime you later.
I know, yeah.
I see you can FaceTime.
That's that confidence now, you know.
You can FaceTime me. I don't pick it up though, but if you start me, I'm like, well, like, what you calling me for? Like, what are you calling me for that you can't text me about?
Absolutely. Well, Sonny, listen, it was great to speak to you. It was great to hear your voice. Stay inside as you have been. Stay healthy. Take care of you and yours. And
shouts to your weed man.
Who there you go.
He should be wearing a mask.
Yeah.
Man, my weed man, we all quarantined together, man. You know, you don't go nowhere. We all here together. We all good and healthy, smoking blunts, making music.
There you go.
You know,
we'll look forward to more of that. All right.
I appreciate it, for real.
All right, take care, Sonny.
All right, bro. Y'all be safe.
You too. Peace. Shout out to Sonny Digital. Shout out to DJ Khalil, and shout out to Jonte Austin. Jeff, are we back tomorrow?
We are back every day forever.
As always, guys, now for real.
Sure.
We'll see you guys tomorrow.